going on, Ledge? It's nice to be here.
Ah, yes, Sam. It is great to be here, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time coming.
Right? We've been talking about this for what, a year now? Maybe a little less than that. I
Yeah.
know we've been been something we've been really wanting to get out there because why not? Both of us are really big into this game and something we're very passionate about. So why not?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. You guys know me. I'm Xcalion. My friends call me Ledge.
Mm-hmm.
Sam is one of my closest friends here, and I met Sam and our other friend Blood. You'll see in our Discord server, I have these set up as the Vanguard, and I have that for a reason. I'll tell you about that later. But I met a friend of ours, a Zycock, I guess is how you pronounce his name.
His weird name. Yeah.
His weird name. I met him at a job that I started back in like 2017. It was right before Destiny 2 came out. And we found out that we had a common passion in Destiny 1 at the time. And so I didn't have a clan at the time. It was just me and a friend that played together. And I hadn't raided or anything like that yet because I didn't really have any other, friends that were playing the game. So what had happened was my friend Zycock, he introduced me to this clan where Blood and Sam were. They carried me through my first raid, which was King's Fall. And then like a week later, Destiny 2 came out. They destroyed all of our stuff, got rid of all of our loot, and that was a really sad time, for all of us. But then Destiny 2 started up, and that's where I got kind of closer with Sam and Blood. Yeah, and that's kind of how we met originally.
Yeah. Which is hilarious because I don't actually remember helping you through King's Fall. I know I was there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. We helped. So here's the thing. I'm not rubbing it in, but like we helped so many people through King's Fall that it was a bit ridiculous. I think that was like one of my most fun raids. Because I met Zycox doing Crota.
Yes.
My original clan, we ran Vault the Glass constantly. I was done with it. Crota came out, found some new people I was running with, and then they wanted help, and boom, here we are. Yeah, it was funny because Destiny 2 came out. I played for the first bit of it, and then when the 2 expansions came out, I didn't bother playing. I had recently I had just gotten married, and my wife and I played for a short time, and then we kind of gave it up for other games, and then only kind of really got back into it when it became free. I think it was like Christmas, like 3 years ago now. And then just been really running with it ever since then.
For Shadowkeep.
Yeah, so Shadowkeep had just launched in that November, and then I had jumped in, and been going gung-ho ever since.
Yeah.
Take a couple seasons off here, and seasons off. I take some time in between the stuff. Still play it all the time, but just
You got to take some breaks, especially this season.
Oh yeah, because how long it is. Oh my gosh. But yeah. So, and I feel like quick side story on all this stuff. So this whole idea came from our Legend, myself, and our good friend Blood. We were all running Nightfalls together every Saturday. We get up, run some Nightfalls, run some comp, whatever we need to do. And then that's where this idea came from. We should start a podcast because all three of us are very different in the sense where I'm very much into like the lore and the raids and that PvE stuff that I'm a huge fan of the Souls games. Very excited for Elden Ring, which I'm actually putting off until we do the day one raid for Witch Queen, and that's after that is when I'll start playing Elden Ring, which I have a 3-month-old son, and I have a babysitter for the entire day. Just get him out of the house so I don't have to worry about it, and we'll focus on this raid. That's how dedicated I am to this game. Don't call me bad parent. My wife said it was okay. But so we've been talking about this forever. That's my area of specialties, is doing the raids and all that stuff. And then our good friend Blood, whenever he wants the loot, he makes it, like, he becomes a specialist in whatever it is to get that piece of loot.
Whatever it
Figures out the best gear, the best tactics, everything. And then both of us will always refer back to Legend. Was like, hey, we have this gun. Is it good? Yes or no? And then we get the trashed or kept. And my vault is full of guns that Legend gave his stamp of approval to that I'll never use. But that's why I kept them. But then Legend here is like a master when it comes to PvP out of the three of us, and then continues to run comp even without us. In that sense, like this kind of season, I wouldn't say drifted apart a little bit, but it's been a bit drier. For, I guess, the three of us, really. Life happens, honestly, and I think like this podcast is a nice way of like kind of keeping that camaraderie together. Like even though we don't get to play together as much as we'd like to, we're still here, we're still together, we're still playing. And this game has brought a lot of good times, a lot of happy times, and it's our turn to share that with the audience. We'll love our other guardians out there.
For sure, and on that note, he did a really great job of explaining kind of the breakdown with us friends, and there's the idea for why I mentioned the Vanguard earlier. Sam, Warlock main, Blood, Titan main, and myself being a Hunter main. And I say main very loosely because all three of us will play whatever we need to play. Like we really will.
We all specialize in one.
Exactly. And so that's why he kind of called us the Vanguard and kind of gave us the three top positions for this server. Just as kind of an idea and kind of a breakdown. And yeah, this has been a long time coming. This has been something that I've always been passionate about. I've always loved podcasting. I've always loved the idea of news. And on top of that, I love Destiny. I love video games in general. Don't get me wrong. But Destiny really is it. And kind of like Sam said, I'm always like willing to get in. If anybody needs help with PvP, like I'm the guy. I'll hop in. And that's not to say Blood and Sam aren't. Like they'll help out anytime you need them, so long as they're available. But as he said, life happens. Back in September of 2021, I lost my job, and not long after that, a couple of months after that, Sam had a kid. You know, mind you, COVID's been going on still. The coof, that's still been a thing, and we have to work around that. And work.
Okay.
I lost that job, but well, heck, I mean, I guess you did there for a while too. You've always had the bar, but so life came at us, but this was something that we decided a long time ago. And I think back in November or December, Sam and I were talking about this, and we agreed that before the Witch Queen came out, we needed to get on top of this.
Right.
And that's what.
So here we are, 3 days before.
Here we are, 3 days before the launch of the Witch Queen. And,
you know what? We still made it before launch.
We made it, man. We're here. This is it. And I mentioned earlier, I released a short video earlier, kind of announcing that this was happening today. And in that video, I said I would explain the name. We're calling this the Speaker, and I think it's brilliant. I think we were like sitting down trying to come up with names. I was in my car on my lunch break at work one day, and I'd called Sam and I was like, "Hey man, I want to do this," and he said, "Yes, let's do this." And what are we going to call this? And that's where we started riffing names. And one of us dropped that. One of us said, "The Speaker," and we were both like, "Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's kind of perfect considering what this is." And so, what is the Speaker? Who is the Speaker? Destiny 2 lore. He was the one, whenever the Traveler first came to Earth, that he picked out and used as his
mouthpiece.
Basically. For the people. And as far as we know, there really hasn't been. There hasn't been another Speaker since. He died, I guess, back when the Red War happened. I'm still really confused about all that.
Watch him come back, though.
Dude, I've seen some theories, and we can go over that. So,
yeah, let's say I don't want to go into that right now, but go ahead and continue, because I haven't thought of that.
Yeah. But that's where it came from. So we wanted to call this the Speaker, because that's what we feel like we're doing. We have a segment that we kind of have planned called Tower Talk. That's where we kind of go over the weekly reset stuff.
Yeah, and stuff a lot more scripted than this. This is just kind of us just shooting the breeze. We have an idea what we want to talk about, but Tower Talk is going to be like, boom, here it is. Boom, what's going on? Here you go. Goodbye.
A weekly reset. And I think let me but before I say that, I think Saturdays is probably going to be the best time for this. Lord willing, my job now is Monday through Friday, so that's easy for me. But I know Friday is Sam's busiest work day.
Yeah.
So if we can make Saturdays continue to work, and we can always have somebody else sub in if we need to, and
Right.
or whichever. But I think Saturday's good for a few reasons, because there's really 3 points in the Destiny week that matter. That first point is Tuesday weekly reset. That's when everything changes. That's whenever all our vendors refresh. That's whenever the strikes change, the playlists change. All of that happens on Tuesday at reset. Thursday is TWAB Day, this week at Bungie. And that's become pretty famous for many reasons. One being that's how we know what's coming, right?
Yep.
Down the road. And a lot of times they'll announce either changes that were made this week or changes that are coming in the coming weeks. But that's where they tell us all of the pertinent information about the game. And then the third thing is Friday reset. And I say Friday reset because that's whenever Trials comes out, is on Friday at reset. There's been a few other things I think in the game, like involving like the Dreaming City that changed over on Friday instead of Tuesday. Yeah. So I think covering that is also a good thing. That'll give us a chance to cover potentially the Trials map, loot, stuff like that. So yeah, I think we can cover those, and that'll also give us a chance to cover, if we need to, if there's some cool stuff in the Eververse store, that thing. Just
Usually what I do is I wait until the season starts, and then there's a YouTuber that I like to watch. Cannot remember his name off the top of my head. He data mines, and he gets the entire calendar for the entire season of what's available for Bright Dust and what's available for Silver, and he posts it. And always very accurate. And if there's a special event going on, like the Dawning or the Valentine's Day event they call, but whatever. It's like the duos for PvP. For the different events, they throw in random stuff, and it's not in the code at the moment, but everything else is like on a shopping list. But
right,
yeah. I mean, I know for me, myself personally, like I grind out Bright Dust constantly. I think I'm 2 things away from getting that 4K Bright Dust, because I took some time off because my son was here. So. But
yeah. Bright Dust is important, and I've been saving it up because you gotta look good. And I've been saving it up because we have a new expansion coming very soon, and with new expansions comes new loot, new stuff,
new glamour,
new glamour.
They already kind of dropped what the universal armament set is for this season.
Yes,
really nice looking void set.
Looks really good.
I think we probably could look over that in a little bit, but yeah, I mean, there's only one season. There was one season where I spent silver. I spent money to get the silver to buy the thing right out. Because over the course of a season, they will sell the entire armor set for Bright Dust.
There you go, right
but
there.
they had a black armory set that I bet $10 on.
Oh yeah.
So
that's it.
That's honest. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just saying this is. I think I have it pulled up here if you can see it.
I think watch stream. I probably can.
Universal armor.
So I like the way that looks. Our friend, our Titan main Blood, he's like, man, they really did the Titan dirty again. The shoulder pads are just so out there.
Yeah.
Like, normally it's not that bad, but like so some Titan armor looks good, but it's just the shoulders. And I think Zavala is the one that's causing all this problem because he's got that one huge one that blocks that shots for him. But
yeah.
Otherwise, like I think the Warlock one looks pretty sick. I like the Hunter's one with these 2 swords on it.
I mean, if it actually did block shots, that would be great, right? Like,
yeah, like in Smash, when you duck as Link, your shield actually works.
Yeah,
so.
I dig it. Like the Warlock looks great. The Hunter, I love that it's actually got like a pair of eyes there. That looks really sick.
Actually, see it out of your helmet now.
Right, that's like great. Now I've been doing so great in the Crucible this entire time, not being able to see anything.
Your
now,
senses.
like it's a whole new world. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the armor. We'll go over some other stuff later, but I'll leave it right there for now. And
so I think over the course of how we end up doing this, when Witch Creed launches, I can already say exactly what I'll be doing. I'm going to be in that raid. I'm going to be there day one, and I'm going to be streaming it. My handle is Batsam42. I will be streaming the whole thing, going for that 24-hour completion. Not trying for worlds first. I'm just going to be happy with the finish. Yeah. Honestly, like I've tried the last 3 and it just hasn't been working. Feeling pretty confident about this run, but weapon crafting, I am a huge fan of where it's going. Huge fan of the Black Armory, which they better bring back because old mama. But that being said, like I'm going to be spending a lot of time doing that. Blacksmithing in any video game and even in real life is something that I've really wanted to get into. So I'm going to be all up in that. So hopefully the next time we sit down and actually do this, I'll have like some in-depth, like hands-on personal experience. Like this is what I did. This is what really excited me. What excites me the most is the frames.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the idea that you can pick a house for the frame, like Hawkeye or whatever. Whatever the weird Oldemar. I know that's saying it bad, but
the foundries.
Yeah, the foundry bonuses. Yes, you get the foundry bonus, and then all the pieces that you add onto it, and then the way the masterworking is, you have to gain experience with that gun. That doesn't mean like literally anybody can like I'm gonna make a dozen weapons. I now have god weapons for everything. No. You have to use it, learn it, experience time with it. Like I have guns that when I did Deepstone Crypts, my first run, I got a Prosperity. The thing has over 16,000 kills on it. That was when they were starting to sunset weapons, and I was like, I will put this gun in my vault, and I will be done using it when I get 69,420 kills. On my way to it, by the way.
That's your demolitionist role, isn't it?
Yeah, rapid hit demolitionist.
Yeah,
I love that thing. So, but like other guns, like I have kept all of my Black Armory weapons, and I consistently use them. So to be able to pick a house like that, like all the Black Armory weapons had like such unique sounds to them. Amazing. And to have those extra perks, I think, is a wonderful extra on top of, and very much rewarding for you siding with a house. Some people like that rapid fire, quick, dump a magazine kind of aggressive play style. Other times, like you want to sit in the back and get those nice longer range shots, maybe with a sniper rifle or a scout rifle. But honestly, at that point, you could even marry the two.
Yeah. Roll
up a nice, heavy, aggressive frame sniper rifle or scout rifle, and then you roll up with a light frame SMG. There you go. Yeah. But then you just roll up in there with something lighter, and there's so many possibilities, and that's what excites me the most. And we could sit here and I could probably talk about this all day, but I'll let it go at that because I'm very excited with all the different stuff coming to this. I'm very excited with all the bonuses and the little things they're going to be doing, and then adding on to it every season. Oh my gosh, the crafting could honestly be its own segment.
I'm with you on the Black Armory stuff. I love it. I didn't get as into it as you did, of course. But those are some of my favorite weapons that have ever been in Destiny as a game.
Yeah.
Blast Furnace. That was my favorite PvP weapon.
Yeah.
and Teteragaze as a sniper. So good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and just every weapon was I don't think there was one particular Black Armory weapon that I used that wasn't good. That wasn't good.
Yeah,
that just wasn't.
All of them oozed personality.
Yeah, they were all very unique.
We don't have guns like that now. Like, Gnawing Hunger is a fast-firing auto rifle. Good. We've had others in that same category that all kind of look the same, sound the same. Like, okay, different perks aside, if you're shooting the same gun over and over and over, especially in a game like this, a looter shooter, where you're going after god rolls, you're going after what's optimized. If you play around with the same gun for the entirety of the season, you're gonna get bored hearing the gun rattle. If that's just me, then that's just me. But there was such a unique change-up to every one of the Black Armory weapons in just sound alone that makes them stand apart from any gun we've had thus far. Now, Hawkmoon and Ace of Spades and a lot of the exotic weapons all have unique sounds to them. And again, this is a weird point for the sounds of weapons, but it matters. In a game like this where it's a looter shooter, You're spending time. You're coveting these weapons. You're going after them. I've spent the last week and a half going through and grinding strikes to get my ascendancy ornament. And I used all black armor weapons for the last week and a half. Just cycling through them again, like not favoring one over another. Threat level was the one I favored, actually.
Shotgun.
But they all felt good. They're all unique, and I like where they've been giving guns more unique perks and unique passives, and that makes them stand out amongst themselves. Because let's be real, Hard Light and Borealis, same concept, cool idea. You don't see them use anymore. They got a Borealis got a buff, or they got a nerf, and you don't ever see people use it. Gosh, what one? The pulse rifle. This is the Nanite Swarm.
Outbreak perfected.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Outbreak perfected. So, great gun. Sounds amazing. Feels good. I don't ever see it used in competitive stuff. I don't ever see it played anywhere else.
Yeah.
But that gun sets itself apart from the rest of the pack by how it's unique is. How unique it is. And I think they're definitely getting to that place with all these unique perks that are coming out. Like Adrenaline Junkie. That's Swashbuckler with grenades.
Yeah.
It's pandering to people who aren't Titans. If you're not up there in the front lines punching people in the face, Swashbuckler's used to see you. Or in PvP with a shotgun.
You said it earlier. You talked about the foundries. You mentioned those, and
that's back to that.
Yeah, dude. That's going to guarantee that no one weapon is exactly like any other weapon. You have two 600 RPM auto rifles. That's what you mentioned. You mentioned Gnawing Hunger, and another one that I can think of right now, Sorrow's Verse, which is the Crucible auto rifle that we got this season. 600 RPM. It's a Suros frame, right? The way that's changing moving forward is a Suros frame is going to have its own unique abilities that like a Hake frame is not going to have. So you might have two weapons that are the same frame, but they're still going to do two different things, and I'm excited about that. That was something that I was really excited about like in Borderlands. In Borderlands, you have your foundries in there, and all of those weapons are so unique in what they do. And the
guns have personality.
Yeah, and I felt like we had that in Destiny 1, but we lost that in the transition to Destiny 2.
Yes. And I really think that was due to the hand that fed Bungie.
Yeah.
Because that they laid the groundwork. Like, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do. And now that Bungie has the reins back to themselves, all of the changes that we've been screaming about since the beginning of Destiny 2 is finally getting the very much needed face time that it deserves. Yes, it's taken a long time. Yes, there's been a lot of monetization. Yes, there's been a lot of bumps along the way. But you know what? We're here. Not many games can say they've gone this far.
That's it, right? Like all these games coming out that are claiming to be Destiny killers. The Division, Anthem, Outer Worlds. Is that Outer Worlds? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Well, okay, let's be real. Anthem, when it walked onto the stage, it was already dead.
Yeah, well, thanks.
I had high hopes for that game, though.
I did too, honestly. And I'm just gonna say thank you, EA, for doing what you do best, and
killing off good ideas,
releasing a half-cocked great idea. But Bungie, one thing that I really haven't seen anybody talking about lately is the recent acquisition by Sony. So if you aren't aware, Sony recently purchased Bungie, right? And this blew everybody away. Back in the day, Bungie was owned by Microsoft, and that's back whenever we had whenever they made the Halo
good
games,
Halos,
the good Halo games,
the good Halo
all
games,
of the Halo games up until Halo Reach. And then Halo Reach was great. Reach was developed by Bungie and 343 Industries, and then right after that came out, before Destiny came out, they sold it to they just sold off Halo to 343,
right?
And then
they've been doing their thing,
and they've been doing their thing since, and then Microsoft and Bungie, they split ways, which was interesting. But Bungie was picked up by Activision, and that was its own thing. They did have funding.
Mm-hmm.
They did have funding, and that did bring us one of the best expansions of all time, which is Forsaken.
Right.
Forsaken had story,
Right.
it had loot, it had every season that came out after Forsaken. You had
With
season
bangers.
banger, dude. Season of the Drifter, season of the Forge, season of the whichever the other one was, the
So there was a third one in that one too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Opulence.
With the menagerie and stuff.
But
yeah.
the menagerie, like, each one of those came out, and each one was better than the last. And not only did they do that, but each one brought a new raid too. And they might have been shorter raids, but
it
each
was
one,
something.
It was something, right?
It was, for people who are hungry for content,
Yeah.
it was there.
Yeah.
Even if it was just like a short-term game, maybe a long-term loss, like content to gobble up in a game like Destiny, a looter shooter where you're encouraged to grind, you need variety.
Yes.
And to have even just a shorter raid, I'm okay with that. Having more variety in your dungeons, having different kinds of mechanics to play around with, and they were nailing it. Menagerie was amazing because in the sense where every time you went in, it was a different kind of thing. And they're kind of touched back on that with the new Trials of whatever it is with Xur and the Star Horse. And I say kind of as in a loose term because it's the same course with just different rounds of enemies.
Right.
But the Menagerie still stands as probably one of the greatest, like, not raid PvE things that you could get together with 6 friends, like, you want to knock this out? Like, yeah. And there was good loot behind it. You could target loot in the world loot pool. And that was done on a weekly rotation. That was fantastic. And then the Black Armor, you could craft specific weapons. Gambit the Season of the Drifter brought Gambit. A mode that's going to get a lot of love, and we'll actually get into that here in a minute.
Yeah,
but
it brought Gambit Prime, I think is what it was. Because Gambit came out with Forsaken. And then,
yes, it brought Gambit Prime.
Yeah.
But, so, like, I was not around for this part of the I skipped over all of that and came back for Shadowkeep. Just had other games to play. But they nailed it with that kind of stuff. But then, isn't it crazy that I was reading an article, people drove dates over to come to a con that Destiny was throwing to play a round of Gambit. A single round. A 15-minute round of Gambit. That we are like, ugh, why is there Gambit matches in my seasonal activities? Why do I have to play Gambit? People drove from 2 freaking states away to play 15 minutes when I can't bear to play 4 rounds. It's getting a much-needed facelift. It's getting some really nice perks and benefits.
Yeah.
But so they were nailing some stuff. And with the partnership of Activision, yeah, they got funding, they got all this stuff, but when Forsaken came out, that was storytelling we hadn't seen since Destiny 1. Like, rich world building. Seasons are okay. And that's what I think the last 2 expansions were for the base of Destiny 2.
Yeah.
I think that Curse of Osiris and then the one on the moon, the Mars. I don't remember exactly what it was called.
The Warmind or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So those 2 specifically, those were glorified DLC.
Yeah.
Those were not expansions. Those were. I'm sorry. Those were glorified season passes.
Yeah.
Honestly, they had as much storytelling as a season pass would. And it was good that they kind of picked it up and just kind of, we're done with this. Because the Infinite Forest, anytime I had to go in there, it was just like, oh, that has infinite possibilities. No, it doesn't. It is not infinite possibilities. It was dumb.
Right.
And they used it for Halloween they just recycled the asset. Which, to be fair, recycling assets is important because it saves developers time and can work on better stuff, hopefully. But
you would think.
But with Shadowkeep, it continued. The storytelling was so much better. They continued to build. And then Beyond Light, for a lot of people, Beyond Light was kind of hit or miss. The storytelling was there. They brought back Taniks for the raid, which was was a bold move to bring him back.
It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it pans out for him.
I'm really hoping that in the Witch Queen they're just gonna have Taniks in it.
We'll talk about that later.
So
yeah.
So continuing on with they've done nothing but build up to this point where we're here for Witch Queen, and honestly, the way they're hyping Witch Queen, they haven't hyped it up since King's Fall.
No,
King's Fall was a defining moment in Destiny 1, at least for me, where it felt like a brand new game had just dropped into an existing game.
Yeah.
There was so much to do, there was so much lore, there was so much extra. Like, it felt like it was its own thing, and it could have stood alone as its own game.
Yeah.
Because the Dreadnought, I'm sorry, I keep meaning to
you're good, you're good.
The Dreadnought had so much to do, and it didn't tell you any of it. It's like, hey, guess what? Did you want to go find that One Piece exotic over there? Well, guess what? You have to go sit next to this thrall, so you smell like them. And then a door opens, and then you can get a quest piece. But you didn't know that until someone leaked it on YouTube.
Oh, by the way, there's also an invisible bridge over here that you have to walk across to go
Indiana Jones style.
Indiana Jones style to go get some magical loot over there that you otherwise wouldn't have known about. Yeah, that was great.
And I think they kind of doing that again with the Dreaming City and stuff, trying to get back to that whimsical mystery stuff, and they're really bringing it back for Witch Queen. I'm very excited.
In Destiny 2, we haven't had a release this ambitious since Forsaken.
Yes.
And I'll tell you why. Forsaken did a lot of things, okay? They had strong suits. I'm going to say looking at like 2/3 of it was great, 1/3 of it was kind of cheese, right? But the 2/3 that they had great, they had the storytelling. They had the changes to the game. They brought us Gambit. Give or take whatever you think about Gambit, they brought us something new.
Right.
But then where it kind of left off were those seasons. The seasons were great, but they were short in kind of the story elements, they had
they didn't world build.
Right, they didn't world build during those seasons. They brought us raids, which was great, and that's kind of, I think, what they used to kind of do the world building there. But that's really all there was to it. And then after Forsaken, we had Shadowkeep, and Shadowkeep did something interesting because they brought us champions. That added to the game in a big way. That made Nightfalls significantly harder than they had previously been. I was soloing Nightfalls every week prior to that. That was kind of my thing. And if I had someone extra to hop in and do it with me, well, great. That just meant it was going to be easier.
Yeah, and free loot for them.
Free loot for them too, right? But with that, they also, I guess they didn't bring us adept weapons until just before Beyond Light. Well, that might have been right after Beyond Light.
Yes. So they were implementing, Trials came out, and that was the only place you could get adapt weapons.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yes.
And then it was the Vaulted Glass that brought us the first iteration of PvE weapons that could be obtained outside of doing competitive PvP. You could do competitive PvE and get an adapt gun with an extra mod.
Time lost.
And it's a beautiful idea.
And then the Grandmaster Nightfalls,
Yep.
But, and Beyond Light did do that for us, don't get me wrong, but Beyond Light was still pretty weak. They had some story.
Uh-huh.
They built onto the story, and they added Stasis, which is cool, I guess. Me being a PvP guy, not so much.
Right. I think they overestimated that. And honestly, so first off, we were wrong. They brought in adapt weapons before Beyond Light, and it was through raids. Not raids, but the Nightfall, the Grandmasters. You were getting adapt weapons then. So before Deepstone dropped, and then you could get adapt weapons. Or was it right after?
Master Vogue brought you the time lost weapons after that.
Right. So, but yeah, so with the with Stasis, it was meant to be control, and it really helped for some of those harder content drops in PvE. It made it feel like you could take on an entire room by yourself, kind of like taking on a Nightfall by yourself. It made it easier.
Yeah.
But I really feel like when they play tested it in the sense man, this is really nice. We should ship this. And I used to play Smite, and Smite, the way they build gods and champions with OP abilities out the gate, because it's way easier to tone down a champion than it is to spend all this time trying to build like the levels back up to find out where they fit in the meta.
Yeah.
If you throw something out that's OP and broken, it only takes about a week's time to kind of study those analytics and then start to pull it down to a more reasonable level, as to where if you drop something brand new, no one talks about it.
Yeah.
And that was the selling point for Beyond Light.
Yeah.
Sure, there was a Raiden story, but Stasis.
Yeah. Stasis did all of that, and I think you're exactly right. I think in the beginning, that's why it took them so long to incrementally bring it down to where it is now. Because
I think it was a design choice.
It was because, they didn't want to bring it all down so quick, and then suddenly nobody's using Stasis, you know? And now, granted, I run Stasis in PvE all the time. It's
Right.
great. It's great for ad clear. It's great for survivability. You get the bonuses to your, with the 3.0 system, you get the bonuses to your stats with some of those perks equipped. Like, that's really, really handy. And of course, we're getting this with Void 3.0. And
So excited about.
I am too. You probably more than me because, Warlock main, but like, for me, it's exciting because I think that, it's already established. They already know what to expect, I think. Now, granted, yes, there's going to have to be some tuning at first, but I say all of this. Me and Sam say all of this to set the expectations, our expectations for the Witch Queen. We're both really excited for it because this is the biggest, like the biggest amalgamation of things that we've gotten. Like he said, since King's Fall, really, like. Because this is more than Forsaken, I believe, and
you can feel it too. Other Destiny players who, like the content creators that are out there that are making these videos, that are doing other podcasts, kind of like how we are. You can sense the excitement. Like we've had kind of a dry spell this content block. The Season of the Splicer was good, brought some excellent weapons.
Yeah.
Season of the Chosen the story was cool. I hated the armor. Armor is a big point for me. Like, what were they thinking with the bowling pins? I know it was supposed to like Korean, like old school military stuff, but it wasn't for me.
Didn't look good.
Season of the Hunt was okay. Again, I did a lot for establishing a story. Yes, you forgot Season of the Hunt was a thing.
No,
yes.
I didn't forget about it. I was thinking back because I remember playing that initially, right? Yeah. And like, I was pretty excited at first. That was Season of the Hunt was the beginning of Beyond Light. And I was pretty excited because I remember doing my first hunt. And I was like, man, this is... Did they rip this off from Monster Hunter? Like...
Yeah. I was hoping more for that then.
Yeah.
I was hoping more for big monster fights. And honestly, Lawrence Driver should have been the exotic that came out then. Because it's a hunting weapon. They're like, oh, this you would feel like a bounty hunter. Yeah, I'd feel more like a bounty hunter if I was hunting down big monsters with a big rifle that does big things. And not one-shotting me in PvP. Get to that later. But we've spent the last 40 minutes just chatting about, our history of playing the game and stuff. Let's actually get into some of the meat of this stuff here. What can we expect from Witch Queen? What can we expect in 3 days? We've got some time here. Let's touch on all that stuff. So Gambit's getting a big overhaul. Weapon crafting is going to be a thing. Void 3.0.
Yes.
Where do you want to start, man? I'll let you go.
I'm going to start with Gambit because I think that's a big selling point right now.
Okay, that's it.
Because a lot of people right now have been frustrated with Gambit for a long time, and mind you, they're bringing changes, and they're going to continue to bring changes next season. I think that's important. They say it in this, that in Season 17, we're about to have Season 16, but in Season 17, they're planning more changes. So I'm just going to be very forward, and I'm going to say we're not getting new maps or anything like that. They're not bringing back the old maps that they pulled out. Not yet.
So that's in the works.
That's in the works.
They've already come out and said, like, listen, we want to do more. They said even for PvP, like, we want to do more. We want to start putting in new maps. The expectation is every season you should be getting an old map and a new map. But we're not there yet, and we're sorry we haven't met that expectation. Which I like that forward. They're being honest with us, and we need that. To keep your player base involved and engaged, you need to be honest. Let us know where you're at, so we can taper ourselves off.
Right. So they say here, ultimately we believe it is important that in Gambit you can showcase both your skill at fighting in Destiny and the variety and focus of your arsenal. It should be just as inherently fun and rewarding to shoot aliens in the face in Gambit as it is elsewhere. A good invader should be able to turn the tide of a match, but a good invader should be no more important than any other equally skilled team member. A good invader does not have to mean a PvP god loaded with the best best tracking or one-hit kill weaponry. Players defending against invaders should have ample tools to fight invaders without worrying about using up ammunition dealing with tougher enemies, and players should have methods for recovering from that devastating invade.
It should for the next 3 days, just use Lauren's driver.
Just use Lauren for the next 3 days. Well, I'm going to say 2 days because I don't think the game's going to be very playable on Monday. I think it's going to be down most of the day.
Agreed. Right.
It should be rare that a match is out of your hands as a player and that an outcome is preordained early in a match. Working together with your team to overcome tough enemies, the primeval, a high-valued target, or an invader should feel as gratifying as a hard nightfall.
So I feel like that statement there. When I think hard nightfall, I think of the week that we spent trying to beat freaking that strike with the tank.
Oh, the new one they Season of the Chosen.
Yeah, that whatever stupid strike that was. When they say it should be as difficult as fighting a hard nightfall boss, no, shut up. Okay, spent a week trying to glitch spots, trying to do things on Grandmaster, and it just wasn't working, and that infuriated me. And then to read this and it should be as difficult as this. Shut up,
dude. That first time we completed that son of a gun, I didn't even get my Adept Palindrome.
I know.
You guys got one. It didn't even drop for me.
I know. I got a god roll too. And Rampage and Overflow with Accuraz rounds. Yeah, no, it was stupid. But yeah, no, we had to do that so many more times. But now, granted, over time we got better at it. But that's neither here nor there. So saying this is going to be a Nightfall fight, I think it's legend level of difficulty for Nightfall. You're still getting matchmaking. So that could be what this is supposed to be. Because honestly, the changes that they're listing here they're not bad.
These guys aren't going to be tougher than champions, right? They're going to be about the same level as standard champions and legendary. Yeah. I think you're right about that. And moving on, upcoming changes fall into 5 categories: core activity, ammo economy, primeval tuning, invasions, and rewards.
Before you continue, I think those 5 things I hit on right there, that literally makes and breaks an activity. Having good ammo economy, wow, that can make and break everything, even PvE down to PvP. It does raids, everything. If you do not have ammo, you do not feel as effective because you're just shooting a pea shooter.
Yeah,
which is crazy to think that we had normal ammo bricks not too long ago.
Nothing. Yeah, God, man,
But so ammo economy is huge, and then you have
the primeval tuning.
Primeval tuning, making that a bit more of an engaging fight, not just burning the boss. Right. Having it be a core activity. Right now, it feels like it's just kind of if I have time.
Yeah.
Invasions, if you're not good at invading or you're not good at PvP, it feels really daunting to have someone come and jump into your world, school all of you, and I've just lost the game.
Yeah.
They're changing that. And then the rewards. Everything is driven by rewards. Our third teammate is driven by rewards. Blood will get up and do no matter what it takes to get his reward.
Not only that, I think it's important to note that changing the reward structure of trials for, even if it was just a few weeks, brought the biggest numbers that trials had ever seen for 2 or 3 weeks in a row.
I came back.
You came back, and people still come back to it now. It's not quite as fun right now, but
it's obtainable.
Exactly, it's within reach.
That's the thing, right? Yeah. But so those 5 changes, you could literally apply those to literally anything in the game, and it would change it completely. Target those couple things, and then bang.
So under core activity, they're adding a freelance node, which is huge.
Gonna save it.
Save it completely. Don't know why this wasn't a thing for a while now, because
it wasn't a core activity.
Yeah, but that would
they didn't value it.
Right, they didn't. But that was the most daunting thing to load into a match and see that you were with a bunch of solos and you were going up against a 4-stack. You were guaranteed that 4-stack was about to nuke that boss and be done with it in like 2 minutes.
Because having a microphone makes a difference.
Yeah.
So you see some people like LFG like, oh, must have mic, because communication is key.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, who plays this game and is 54, he loves playing Gambit, but whenever he goes against a 4-stack, he's like, I'm not going to win, but, you know, we'll go.
Yeah, we're here.
But hearing there's going to be a freelance is like, oh my gosh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Being able to play with other single-player people is huge, because you know you're not going to get waffle stomped into the floor.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have an opportunity. You're going to have a chance. And it's more rewarding in the sense where it's like, I don't have to have friends online all the time to be able to do this.
Freelance nodes. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, you're good. I was just going to say, it makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a huge difference.
The freelance node being added to both Comp and Iron Banner and occasionally Trials, you see bigger numbers in those activities now. Absolutely. There's more people playing Comp now because they can hop in and know they're not going to go against a 4-stack every time. And the same can be said for Iron Banner. You know that you're going to go in with a bunch of people and you're all on the same playing field. You know, the power level thing, but... so moving on from the freelance node, the next thing they mentioned is rotating seasonal selection of curated encounters starting in Season 16. Mm-hmm. Basically, whenever you load into a map and you see it's a certain enemy type, you're like, this is going to be a long, dragged-out piece of garbage. They're trying to fix that. They're mitigating that. So what they're doing is they're making it to where... Where are we at? In Classic Gambit Prime, you could got a randomly selected encounter from a list of 3 for each enemy race on each map. And Beyond Light, due to production issues, we were only able to bring one of the 3 variations forward into the new activity. Those issues have been fixed, and we are now bringing the missing variants forward. Playing with the single mission or the single variant, a variation for race and map for a year led us to an interesting observation. It's fun to know that Hive on Pacifica means, oh god, the Shriekers, and to learn the spawns and master them over time. Maybe not interesting for an entire year, but we think it will be interesting to have a set rotation of spawns for a season, and over those 3 months really master each encounter. So, no more Shriekers on Pacifica for now, but they'll be back later this year.
So it sounds like to me that anytime a certain map loads up, you are only going to be fighting a certain enemy.
Yes.
We were talking about this a couple days ago, where it's like, oh, you're going to have one set of enemies to fight the entire time. But that would mean they'd have to change over bounties and a bunch of other stuff. Having it so that way, whenever you're on Pacifica, you're fighting just Hive or you're fighting just Scorn every single time that map loads up, that does add more of a... There's more opportunities for you to craft a build around that.
Yes.
There's more predictability.
Yeah, exactly. Predictability.
Certain things work better against certain enemies. I love fighting Hive. You know why? They can't teleport. Everyone else can teleport. Vex, Captains, Scorn are the worst.
Do Cabal teleport?
Cabal can jump. And hang on. It matters. It matters. Because their jetpacks, when they jump in the air, if you hit through a tracking rocket at them, it misses. Aggressive tracking, no.
Okay.
But... Hive are the most fun to kill, okay? They break real good.
Let's see here. They are respawn points added to all fronts, sections of the maps where enemies could cycle in or out. Yes, that's huge because it would just be like, that's a good change. Moving on, players always drop half the motes they were carrying when they are defeated.
Huge.
Yes.
Because now that definitely incentivizes the team gameplay. Mm-hmm. Because my ally went down. Well, I'm not gonna go risk my life getting him. It's like, no, you're gonna risk your life getting those motes, and while you're there, why not pick him up?
Not only that, but the invader. You know, the invader would come. You would kill the invader and be like, killed you, sucker. 3 motes.
Now you can get more motes from them. Plus, if they pick up, here's an interesting question: if the invader kills somebody who's holding 10 motes, right, and they pick up all 10, and then they kill somebody else who has 15, and they pick up the 7. Anyway, so they pick up half the motes, right? They get all their stuff together, and then you kill them. Do you get all of those, or you get half of the half?
You get whatever they had all of, because again, you can carry a maximum of 15, even if you know, so you carry a maximum of 15. Whenever he dies, he drops half of his 15. So I'm thinking 7.
That was my final thought on that, but I was like, oh man, in the instance it happened all at the same time, it's like you get a kill, scoop them up, and then you die. It's like,
so specifically,
we had this conversation at 4 a.m. So
yeah. So specifically,
it wasn't quite working.
So Invader comes, has 0 motes, kills your teammate. Your teammate had 8 motes. They drop 4 motes. Invader goes and picks up 4 motes. You kill the Invader immediately before they pick up any more motes. He's going to drop 2 motes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was wondering if they were going to drop. I wonder if Invaders are still going to drop motes even if they don't have any on them. Will it still be the baseline 3?
Okay,
they haven't mentioned that.
They haven't mentioned that.
Even this whole TWAB, they haven't mentioned it.
That's true.
Okay. And like, so we've read this whole thing already. Mm-hmm. Like, this isn't new to us. Like, we've watched it, we've read it, we've talked about it before, at least amongst ourselves. They don't mention that anywhere in here. So,
let's move on then. Players can be revived by other players 2 seconds earlier, and auto respawn is delayed by 2 seconds. I gotta say, it is always frustrating to go pick somebody up, and as soon as you're picking them up, whoop, warp out. There they go.
Respawn. Yeah.
I do wish they would have changed this even more to just make it to where it's not 2 seconds earlier. Like, as soon as they die, you can pick them up. Whatever. I don't think that hurts anything.
Instant respawns.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, of course, you do have to force the respawn at some point. So I'm glad that they extended that by 2 seconds. They say here exactly what that is going to do. We want to emphasize and reward teamwork as much as possible. So you're not only picking up your teammate, you're picking up half the motes that they dropped. And it'll make recovering from an invader a little bit less daunting, right? Like Invader came, he wiped out 3 of my teammates. Great, this sucks. Like, now we don't get anything. No, if your teammates each had enough motes, you can hopefully yourself go and get a blocker going at least. So I'm excited about that. That's a good change. All shields have increasing resistance to non-matching damage types. While not as severe as match game resistance and Nightfalls, we wanted a way to promote build crafting and teamwork, which I know you're all about.
Oh, absolutely. I want to optimize.
Optimize.
Get that to work. Good.
Rules of Gambit node added to the launch screen, and numerous Gambit-specific hints have been added to the load screen. Gambit can be a bit opaque. Yeah, opaque. To newcomers, and this should give them a leg up. So
I will say, helping my dad play this game for the first time as of a couple months ago when he finally got his PS5. Somebody who's never played this honestly wasn't that hard to understand as a concept. What he struggles with is just PvP. But PvP is more straightforward. So I get like there's a lot more going on with Gambit. And I think that the helpful, like, you know, here's what to expect, here's what this is. A little bit more deep dive of that kind of stuff is good. What I'd like to see, completely other note, teach people how to put mods in. I can't tell you how many people that I've seen, like in the tower, that are new light players that don't understand how mod builds work.
Yeah,
there are plenty of YouTubers out there that explain that kind of stuff, and there's content creators that, you know, go do walkthroughs.
But
there's nothing in the game.
It's like they leave that to the content creators. You know, they're like, the content creators got this one.
But that's why, like, you know, side idea, and we'll just gloss over this real fast. Put content creators in your game.
Sure. In
the sense where, like, and these are just my personal picks because I think they'd be really fun. First off, give us a firing range in the tower.
Yes.
And then give us Astacross and Error, and put the 2 of them in there.
Okay. Well, first off, Astacross is already in the game.
That's Xiaohan. No. I want an actual Astacross.
Oh, my bad.
So what you do is you get him. So you go down like into the basement, like of the hangar or whatever, and there's just a gun range, and Astacross is standing there in his Titan armor, in front of like a huge weapon cache. It's like, let's go, baby, and then like you pick a weapon, you get to go to the firing range, and he explains like how DPS and how all this stuff works.
All right.
But then you have Error. Exactly. Then you have Error sitting over on the side at a table, like working on something, and there's a bunch of books behind him. He's like, hey, you know, we can amplify this and that could be a new light quest, teaching players how it could be an advanced new light quest,
Yeah.
not a mandatory one. It could be like optional, but go and do like apply this to this to this, and you get this result.
Yep.
Here's how these things work, and honestly, that's how you can implement some of your new mods. Like, oh hey, we got we put in the well mods. Go see Error about how to use them properly on your armor, and go talk to Astrocross about how to use them in combat.
I agree. That's important. They should look
But-
into doing something with that.
Whole rabbit trail. But no, I do think it's important to help the new lights because they need it. They need it a lot. They need all the help they can get. So
So,
else?
moving on, blockers, draining, and the bank. Now, you might think that this isn't actually quite as important as the rest of it, but they're making some good changes here. 10 Moat Phalanx blockers has their health boosted a bit. If you're unaware, basically there were taking captains initially back in the day.
those were so much worse.
Back in the day,
were so much worse.
They were so much worse because they teleport ridiculously. Their ability has no cooldown. They just do it. They just instead of taking a stroll down the street, I'm a teleport down the street. Like that's all they did. So they got replaced with the phalanx blockers. And thing is they're really really easy to kill, especially. Just throwing this out there, if you're using an anti-barrier weapon, shoot straight through that shield, no problem. So they're getting a bit of a health boost, and
which is nice.
The 15 Moat Night blockers are gaining a Stasis Attack, and I believe this is an AoE attack, like a stomp mechanic kind of thing.
I wish they'd replace the fire with this.
I don't think they don't say anything about taking the fire away, but the fire is a pain in the butt.
It is. I also like where it's like a moat drain.
Yes.
Multiple blockers continue. Even on the primeval phase. Because, I mean, what's the incentive to kill the blockers unless... Like, I mean, if you're burning the boss, there's no incentive. Knowing that the enemy team is now catching up even faster, worth it to kill them. And then the moat drain being paused while you're fighting the blockers. Like, if you don't have the ammo to pour into an enemy, this is where it's at. Like, being able just to know that you're there fighting it, is holding it off, is plenty.
I do wish they would make one change in the future, though. That long, like, if they're on their boss, their primeval, and you send a blocker over, so long as that blocker's on the field, the boss is shielded.
So I disagree with that. I think the boss should get a boost in health. Anytime you send a blocker over, based on the amount of motes you send, they should get a percentage of health back.
Okay, that's interesting.
Don't penalize the enemy team from being able to burn a boss effectively, because I feel like if it gets a shield for you dumping 5s in, then you just spam 5s and keep it shielded completely.
Okay, okay, that makes sense.
So if you get a heal every single time you drop a blocker, even if it's just a small amount, it's hindering. But even then, that could be abused, because if you keep dropping 5s, you could just heal the whole boss up.
Just have it. Then that's easy to mitigate. Like a 5 blocker drops an equivalent of 5 health or whatever. A 10 blocker, 10 health. A big blocker, 15 health or whatever. You could just mitigate that way.
And that could be in the instead of invading, that's how you're healing.
Sure.
And honestly, it could be abused, but at the same time, you're going to be filling up your bank so fast. Like, a couple heals you do.
Yeah.
Do. It's like killing 2 guardians anyway. So that's a nice catch-up mechanic, but
that is, But I do love this next part. Moat drain is paused if a player is near the bank or engaging blockers. That I love, because it's if they have, first off, it's such a pain if you got like a knight on the field with 2 of the goblins, and the goblins just keep shielding the knight. Like, it's a pain in the butt. So it's nice that so long as you're in the vicinity now, the draining is paused. I love that.
Yeah.
And then moving on to I think probably the most important part of the Gambit changes, and that's the ammo economy.
Yes. Now,
whenever you first load into a Gambit match, you go into the world. Each map has 3 or 4, I think 3 fronts is what they're called, right? So
like at the steps or on the stairs or whatever.
Exactly. So, just a note for that. So, when completing a front, a chest containing a small amount of special and heavy ammo spawns in the middle of the front and can be looted once by each player. It times out at 20 seconds after the initial interaction, so you still can't dilly-dally.
That kind of reminds me of the season of the Splicer. Every time you dropped your 15, you got a little chest. And they give you heavy ammo.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a ton. And it was just enough to keep you going.
Yes.
Which I think is a nice, like, boon to kind of keep you into the next round. So you don't feel like you're losing out on special ammo. Like this season, like, the fusion rifles were king. And so, like, you were very limited on your ammo. I think shotguns are next season. Don't quote me, but that is the ritual weapon, which is they always favor whatever ritual weapon comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's big because the fusion rifles could one-shot the phalanxes. They could two-shot, and if you were running it correctly, you two-shot the knights. Like it was big, and to run out of ammo, like you weren't moving fast enough. You weren't hitting those marks. Doing it this way, like if you feel rewarded for using your special ammo, you're not hoarding it. You're not waiting for that boss fight. It's like no, this is nice. And then killing the high value targets,
dude,
to get that special, that heavy ammo, so nice.
It's so pointless to kill a high value target because I think they drop 20 motes, if I'm correct. I think it's 20 because it's enough for me to pick up 15 and someone else to come pick up a few. I think.
So you gain motes for every like instance, like a certain amount of instance of damage you do to them. So I think it drops 5 over the course of killing them, and then the actual thing dies and drops to 15.
Right.
But that's because it's not meant for you to take on by yourself.
Right.
And so high value targets could be like, oh yeah, there's a high value target on the field, or it could just be like a named yellow bar enemy.
But now every time you kill one, heavy brick. That's huge. That's really huge. This replaces the regular front ammo chest, but you still need to find the time to go grab it. Limited special and heavy ammo bricks to only spawn from enemies if you have finder mods equipped. Other ammo exotics and perks like Aeon Cult still work, and I think that Aeons are probably going to be pretty important in Gambit next season.
I mean, we said the Aeons were going to be important for Nightfalls. Once they got their massive rework, they were huge and high-end gameplay in the end. And now they're seeing more playtime elsewhere. I would love to see, honestly, a fourth gauntlet show up somewhere, or just like another round of perks.
I'm gonna tell you what, like I'm pretty excited right now because you know the shotgun, the Deicide, the Void shotgun. So it's a rapid fire frame, which not the most impressive, but you know they're good at what they do, and that's putting out a lot of damage really fast. Threat level was great. You know, Hawthorne's Field Forge shotgun, those are all great. But like the Deicide, I got a roll that was let me tell you it. I think it was lead from gold and 1-2 punch. I'm going to tell you, like, lead from gold, I got my lead from gold Cartesian coordinate earlier this season, and that thing has carried me through PvE.
Yeah.
Because I have, like, I can just run rocket launcher ammo bricks or whatever for my Galahorn and be continuously getting ammo for my fusion rifle.
Yeah.
That's
what we used to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was just going to say, anyone listening out there, like, get you a lead from gold shotgun for next season. If Sam's right and it's going to be shotguns, then it's going to be important.
Because there was the season where sniper rifles was your anti-barrier.
Oh my god, I love that.
But it was an amazing season. Oh my gosh, Izanagi's. But with that being said, like, you know, you still had a heavy to run. Well, having lead from gold on a sniper rifle, beautiful. Or having a heavy weapon. Yeah, or even having like a heavy weapon that had lead from gold on it. There was a couple LMGs that had it. Like, even a couple linear fusion rifles have it now too. Yeah, like having lead from gold is amazing in the sense where it's like you could really ramp in your ammo economy by just having one set of mods. That was when mods used to like the ammo finder mods used to stack, where you could have like 2 double rocket launcher mods and you were getting double.
Now, mind you, I used to not be a huge fan of lead from gold. If it was something that I got, I would kind of like it'd be a one-off and I'd gloss over it. But lead from gold, I want to say at the beginning of this season, maybe halfway through the season, maybe it was before the last the 30th anniversary update. Lead from gold got a buff, so it gives you more ammo now than it did. So that's why.
Because it used to just give like the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And now it's much better.
And it didn't stack with ammo finder mods. Now
Right.
it stacks with ammo finder mods.
Right.
So, all right, moving on to the Primeval fight. Primeval health and Slayer stack bonus returned. They took that away whenever they changed up Gambit this year. Excuse me. Burning the boss after 3 rounds of Envoy should be just as easy as it is now, but burning him after just 1 or 2 rounds should be significantly more work, which is good.
I think
That's
it's
gonna
nice.
make the matches a little bit longer.
Makes it feel more engaging.
Gives the other team more of a chance, right, to catch up.
And I feel like with that change, it makes it feel more like what they were saying earlier, where it's like this should be like a Nightfall fight. Well, yeah, at this point, yeah, because you're prolonging the boss fight by making him invincible, which you're going to see in a minute, with the envoys up. But it feels more like a proper boss fight. Like you're actually summoning a boss. The part of summoning shouldn't take forever. It should be the fastest part. The actual fighting part should be the long part. Kind of like with Nightfalls, or even not even Nightfalls, but what's it called? Friggin' Strikes. Strike should be the getting to the boss part should be, should have some good mechanics to it, but it also shouldn't be like the most, ridiculous part. Fighting the boss should be, the fun part.
Right.
But yeah, I see where we've hit our hour long. We just could lightning around the rest of it.
No, we're fine. This is the first one. Okay. We're fine. We're gonna make this work. Envoys now spawn with friends out in the front rather than in the bank area. Just a quality of life improvement there.
Right.
So that you're not just hounded by a bunch of enemies. Right. Envoys put an invulnerability shield on the Primeval.
Yeah.
Envoys felt pretty useless before. Like, what was really the point of them? I mean, besides giving you the Slayer bonus.
Right. And if you already had like a really good weapon trained up on them, like you would this season, if you had the No Composure and you were fighting the witches, it was a one-shot kill.
Exactly. With
particle deconstruction.
Yeah.
You were one-shotting the witches, and that just ramped up on the boss. Because, maybe 2-shot them, but if you hit them both, you were already at max stacks when it came to fighting the boss, and boom, you burned bosses. So I think having them spawn in the different locations and the different fronts, so like you might have one spawn on the steps and one spawn at the depot. It's like you got to break it up to go to those different spots and then come back and fight the boss, which sounds like a good time.
See, Envoys respawn at 30% of the Primeval damage done. This increases by 10% every Envoy respawn, and Envoy stops spawning after the 5th spawn. Again, basically, it's kind of made to, I think, to give the other team a fighting chance. Yeah, just because, the Envoys, now they're a little bit harder to fight, so I like that. And a big one, they took away the meatball. The Primeval Servitor boss is removed. Since its custom shielding mechanics conflicted with the new mechanics.
Conflicted with
quest has
my anger. Every time I saw it, I'm like, dang, it's the meatball.
Curse you, He-Man! Invasions!
Yes.
Level advantage is now disabled.
So I will say this before we get into this.
Yeah, go ahead.
Having a good invader, so myself being a PvE player and Blood being a PvE player.
Yes.
We would optimize for boss fights. He and I would get geared up. One of us would clear the enemies, the other one would grab the motes. The other one would solely build for killing the boss. And between the 3 of us, our fire team, Ledge would go over, he would invade, kill them all. Blood and myself, we would take turns on who was nuking the boss, but we'd always nuke the ads together. And then we would just decimate the boss. Between the 3 of us, we could clear very fast. That being said, having a really good PvP player made the difference. Because Blood and I could work really fast together and get the motes, get the banks, get everything we needed. But if we didn't have that constant interference on the other side, they can't focus. If you're a good PvP player, you could disrupt the entire flow of the game.
Yeah.
Then regardless of how good you are on the other side, you could have 4 amazing PvE players that would never invade, and you were still going to lose to one lucky invader who got the drop on 4 of you who were all carrying 15 motes.
Not to mention the counter-terrorism unit, the counter-invasion, right? Being able to have somebody shut down that invader, and you learn where they spawn. And you're set up that, you kind of have an idea, like, if all of my guys are over here and I'm right here, he's probably over here.
Right.
And be aiming there, be ready to go, and then try to take him out before they take out any of my teammates. But so as it stands, level advantage is now disabled. It has been like this since the start of Beyond Light. Surprise.
Level advantage just sucks.
Especially
for new lights. Like new lights, like, oh, I want to get this Malfeasance quest done. I gotta go invade. You're doing nothing.
Yeah.
You have a paintball gun and a high caliber round. So,
dude, I feel like that. Honestly, that's probably more demoralizing than anything. Whenever it says that it's been like this since Beyond Light, like, sorry, you just sucked this whole season.
Right. It's like, we've gone a full year of just this. Like, no wonder it hasn't worked.
Oh man. One of the moat phase invasions has been removed. So instead of having 3 phases, there's now only 2.
I think it's a little bit more fair, especially in the sense where you're trying to speed up the moat phase.
I think so.
Now it's only going to be spawning at 40 and 80%, and if you don't use those the invasions, it goes away.
That's another huge one. Yeah, moving on to the next
you
point.
can't stock them up anymore.
Right.
It used to be you could just have them all together, and then you could just boom, 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 but just really bully some people. They took that away. I think is an excellent change, because you can see here, it only does at the 40 and 80 mark, and then if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. That I think is going to be huge, because there are so many quests where it's like, get all these moats and then don't die. It's like, listen, people have enough time surviving. I've watched enough blueberries grab 15 moats multiple times and then die to a blocker. All right, it's already pretty easy to do. You don't need to crush their spirits anymore. Don't. When somebody else already has 0 moats in the bank and you invade, you know the kind of person you are.
Oh yeah. We all
Welcome
know
to
that
the
person. And then another big part of that is if they're using a scoped weapon, they can no longer see the outline of their enemies, the invaders.
Which
that
is huge.
That's huge. That's huge, because that's where, like, those snipers would just screw you over. I say screw you over. I'm guilty of it. Like,
yes,
let's
you
be
are.
real. But that's a huge quality of life change. And then I guess there was a bug where whenever an invader would kill somebody, that person would basically replenish a random amount of primeval health, and now it's a set amount.
Which is good.
Yes, it's more consistent, anyways.
You know what? I would honestly say I would like to see, if you got 1 kill, it's a flat amount. If you get 2 kills, it goes more. Because if you're lucky enough to get the 4 kill drop, you should be healing the boss by like 10%.
Sure, I hear you.
But that also emphasizes, like, man, a really good invader can, a good invader can really make the difference.
Exactly.
But
that's why it's important. But
we'll
moving
see what
on,
happens in the future.
Moving on to the most important thing, and this is the reward structure. And
yes.
I'm just going to give you a quick kind of glossing of what this is. They're implementing the Trials reward structure.
Which is amazing.
The ability to take umbral engrams and focus them into gear. Mind you, we have Trials engrams, so it's not a total copy-paste.
They're going to be Gambit engrams. It's not umbrals.
Exactly. They're going to be Gambit engrams, so you're going to be able to take those, and you can focus those towards whatever. You've been trying to get that God roll bottom dollar for a long time? Dude, this is your chance to actually like try and do that for for myself. Dude, I want that rapid hit kill clip servant leader. I can't get it. And I'm sorry, but I don't really feel like putting in that much effort to go and grind it whenever I know it's going to maybe drop from 1 out of every 10 or 12 matches, maybe.
Right, and then even with the ghost mod, it's not a guarantee.
Exactly.
Like, it's like, oh, we've got a percentage chance of getting some other legendary piece. It's like, okay, yeah, but having this makes it worth it.
Yes.
Because you're still going to get the random drops. You're still going to get the random rewards. But then getting something that you can then take, like, I worked for this engram, I now want this, please.
Yes.
I would love to see that in the future with even just the world drops.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there are some decent world drops.
They do note in here that this is a change that will eventually be coming to Crucible and Vanguard.
Yes, which that's part of the reason I mentioned it. Mm-hmm. It's like, I can't wait to see those things make that change, because it all started with Trials, and then us trickling it down into these other things is really Trials was the area that needed help the most, right? Big PvP stuff, big end game for people who don't want to do raids. All right. So next, the logical thing would be, man, where else can we help our game out? Well, everyone does Vanguard and everyone does Crucible. What's something that uses more? Gambit. Gambit needs help. Let's get that in there. Gambit has some great guns.
Yeah.
Let's work it that way. So this is nice.
And speaking of Gambit guns, if you, for whatever reason, want a Bygones or a Trust, because
the collection,
they're old. Don't get me wrong, but you can pull them from collections. If you don't already have them in collections, go to the Drifter and get them. Buy them so that you can have them in collections. 3 days. Well, realistically, I think you have 2 days.
2, yeah.
I think Monday is going to be a slag. I don't know that anybody's going to be able to do much of anything on Monday because there's going to be tuning all day.
Oh goodness! I think like the end of the day Monday.
Yeah,
they'll probably be like dropping the servers.
Yep. And then here we go. We'll just move right on. I think we covered it pretty much. The future of Gambit, the future in Gambit labs. The daily Gambit bounty objectives are generally fine, but some of them repeatable bounties have some onerous completion requirements. We're taking a pass on these, though they won't all come at once. Sometime this season, we will be adjusting the completion amounts of most Gambit repeatable bounties. Weapon kills drop from 25 to 15, melee and grenades drop from 25 to 5, and super kills from 15 to 10. Dude, I'm going to say that the melee and grenades ones, oof, that's huge. Yeah. Season 17, we'll be making additional tuning changes as well as adding 3 new bounties throughout the year. We will also be adding bounties specific to Light 3.0. And that's important because they said it specifically Light 3.0. Later this year, throughout the seasons, I don't know if it's going to start in Season 17 or 18, but the changes that we have that came with Stasis that are coming to Void in Season 16 are coming to Solar and Arc. They're going to be rolled out once at a time. It's not all going to be at once. But we are going to get the same changes that's coming to Void to Solar and Arc, and that's huge.
Yeah, especially with us getting that within the next year before the next content drop, like the next big one, which is Lightfall.
Yes.
Which would be amazing to get a brand new super then.
Right.
So.
And then to finish up the Gambit stuff, Sam, do you ever get bored of playing just the same basic Gambit game mode?
Yes, actually.
Great, because Invasion Swap is perfect for you. So now, whenever you dunk your 40 motes, instead of setting up the portal for me to go invade, now our enemies can invade us. So
that should be permanent. That should be a staple.
You better make sure we're ready.
Honestly, I think that's more fun.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, like, if your entire team smashes in 4 rounds of 15s, like, you're already doing really well and probably way better than your opponents are.
Yeah.
The fact that you all 4 got 15 before they could bank, like, yeah, great. Come on over. Clearly we're going to smoke you anyway, but, bring it on.
Put them up. And then Moat Thief.
We just dropped all this moats. Like, we're not... That's the downside of that, then.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Just dropped all their moats. They have nothing in their pockets. They have nothing else to offer. Why would you invade them? You're not going to smack them out of their hands.
It's we'll see. Yeah. The other mode is going to be Moat Thief, and that's basically where the invader can drain moats. I do like that. And they drain moats, and the moats go directly to your bank.
Yeah, I think, honestly, that is more approachable. Because you have people who, like my dad, I apologize if you're watching for always harping on you for this, but, like, not good at PvP.
Yeah.
It's fast-paced, it's difficult, it's okay, though.
Yeah.
Where this would shine for him is you could stay in the area and just hide and be just as effective for your team than as an invader, because the enemy team can leave you alone and keep banking their own moats and leave you, nothing would happen. The most you would lose is 30 moats, because it says every second you would gain a moat to your bank. At most, an invasion lasts about 30 seconds, and you're only losing 30. That's 2 people dunking 15. If you don't prioritize that, sure, you're gonna lose the equivalence of 2 big drops. But hunting down an invader can sometimes be difficult even now. It's like, oh my gosh, how do I get this going? But having that as an extra thing, I think is actually maybe a welcome change, at least for the people who are new lights, who have a difficult time landing those PvP kills, who don't have the weapons that can map somebody, who don't have truth, or Wardcliff Coil, or
Gallahorn.
Gallahorn or Omnioculus. Like those big things that just wipe an entire team, like to be a real effective, honestly, Deadman's.
Oof, yeah.
I have a guy on our squad, Deadman's is like the deadliest thing in his hand. He'll just pop, 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 and whole team's dead. Ridiculous. So for somebody else who would be intimidated to try and pull that off, just hiding and getting stuff, that's really nice.
Right.
Because it makes that portal more approachable.
I think so.
And I hate using that term approachable, because they're trying to throw that into my Dark Souls and Demon Souls games, and they can go,
And they're starting with Elden Ring.
No, just put a game mode in called Journalist, and nothing can attack you, and you have infinite ammo, and watch them still screw it up.
Right.
Kotaku.
So let's finish up this TWAB, and this is this week's TWAB, mind you.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go over the patch note review because it says something that's very important to me specifically. You guys, maybe. Ritual rewards. Starting with the Witch Queen, ritual playlist rewards will be updated to grant full ritual-specific gear, weapons, mods, and armor, and no longer be granting rewards from a general loot pool. Thank you, Bungie. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm so tired.
Clarify that.
Yeah,
clarify that for people. No, go ahead. I'm saying you clarify it for the people.
I'm so tired of playing any game mode. Crucible, that's where I spend most of my time. As of my Bungie email this week, I spend 80% of my time in the Crucible. So, yeah. But they made a change before Beyond Light, where they basically had a world loot pool. And what that means is, anytime you get an engram, anytime you get a legendary drop, there's basically one big pool that drop pulls from. Mm-hmm. And they implemented that into the entirety of the game, into all of your core playlist. Vanguard, right. Strikes, Gambit, and Crucible. And it just made it really friggin' monotonous. That's honestly, like, I used to love playing Gambit. I really did. Like, I didn't care about the changes or whatever. I used to love playing it. Got to a point where I'm like, I'm getting the exact same stuff playing this as I'm getting playing anything else. There's no point.
Right. The reason that was that way, though, is because of exactly what Legend just said. He primarily plays PvP. If you're able to dedicate like a couple of hours to play this game, and let's say you play 3 nights a week and you play like 2 hours a piece, you only really have time to really specialize in one area. If you go and play PvP, they wanted that loot pool, the world loot pool, to be accessible to all players at all stages. The problem with that was there is so much in our world pool that waters down specific things. Like what he was saying with the bottom dollar or Servant Surehand. Servant Surehand? Yeah.
Servant's Leader.
Servant's Leader. You're not getting the words that you're seeking after from those specific activities. So they added, was it 2-3 seasons ago? That they wanted to do, like, so Vanguard was specifically getting its own rewards. Vanguard has certain weapons that will only ever drop in Vanguard. Eternal Blazon? No. There's a couple guns in Gambit, there's a couple guns in Vanguard, there's a couple guns in
Crucible.
And those sets of guns can only drop from those areas. What this change is doing is you're only getting those guns now. If you are playing at those activities, you're only going to get those guns instead of those guns and the entirety of the world loot pool. World loot pool's not going anywhere. It's just being moved to different stuff. Like if you're doing like general activities.
Right.
Not Vanguard, not ritual specific.
And that's why I'm excited about it.
Huge welcome change.
It is. Look, I would have been fine with it, and I think everybody was fine with it at first because, as Sam stated, there was a reason for it. It wasn't that they just did this because they were being lazy. A lot of people felt that way. I, at the time, might have been one of those people, but Sam's right. Like, they did it for a reason because not everybody likes to spend a ton of time in Crucible.
Right.
But the problem was, there again, what reason did you really have to play it then? If you're just getting the same rewards from, everywhere else. So Crucible will now grant Crucible gear, Vanguard will grant Vanguard gear, and Gambit will grant Gambit gear. Also, I think another reason that they did that was because whenever they did the sunset, they implemented sunsetting, a lot of stuff went away, and that included all of your core stuff from before, all of your core Crucible, Vanguard guns and all that. And they've only now gotten more loot in the loot pool now with all the guns that they've implemented throughout the seasons, that now I think they have more stuff that they can do that with. World engrams.
And they're bringing everything back.
Yeah, they're bringing it all back. And the world loot pool is not going away. It's just being focused more. Engram focusing is currently only available for Saint 14 and the Drifter, though world engrams will continue to be granted at major ranks on ritual vendors just for a little variety. Gambit, Crucible, and Vanguard rituals are receiving updated armor rewards for a new expansion release. These are the same base appearance, but they have slight differences in decals and coloring to represent each ritual. And I'll show it right here so you can kind of get an idea for it.
So this armor is kind of like what they did last year. They said they were going to be doing every year. The core ritual stuff is going to get new sets of armor.
Yeah,
it's going to be the same exact thing if you played Crucible, Gambit, or Vanguard.
Exactly.
It's just you're showing off your colors for which one you represent more. Play a lot of strikes, you're going to have most likely just this armor set sitting in your vault. They look okay, but honestly, the paint jobs are just terrible.
I think the armor it looks better than it did last year. In general,
the hunters looks good. I don't understand what the infatuation is by giving warlocks huffy coats, but it needs to stop. Okay?
This coat looks better than some of the other coats they've gotten, though.
Agreed, and we're getting there finally, but they need to be stopped.
Okay,
look, flowing robes are cool and all, but we can wear armor too. I like to think back to like the Clone Wars series that you can watch on Disney now. Yeah. But like the Obi-Wan, it's like you got the chest plate and you got the gauntlets. You still have some flowing robes. That's what I want.
Yep.
Battle mage.
Yep.
Whatever.
And you know what? I might be in the minority here, but I want to see scarves come back to hunters.
I would love to see capes on all characters. Why do you only get a cape? Maybe I want to go with the cape too.
I mean. So, they also say that...
Moving on!
Sam, I can't begin to tell you how happy I am.
Yeah?
Because Eternity and Vostok are coming back to the Crucible. I have 2 long-range maps to play right now, and it's Widow's Court and Distant Shore. And, Altar of Flame as well, I guess. But... They took Vostok away from me, and I don't know why everybody hated on that map. That was my favorite map.
Yeah.
That was my favorite map. Eternity is okay.
Yeah.
They're bringing it back.
I know. I'm excited. I'm excited they're bringing back old stuff. Like, honestly, like, people get on Bungie's case a lot for rehashing things. Here's the thing. What does everyone keep complaining about? Well, this game's not like Destiny 1. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You're wanting them to bring it back? Stop getting on their case for recycling assets. Stop getting on them for what was it? A couple seasons ago, this is the cycle of the reseason. A season of the recycle. Like, okay, I get it. All right, but you know what? I actually want some of those old weapons back.
Yeah,
I want some old armor back.
Same.
Like,
yeah.
We're nostalgic people.
Yeah.
Like, I would love. We got Vault of Glass back, but you know what we didn't get? We didn't get Chatter White.
Yeah.
If we get Crota back, and I do not have Lohu.
Ooh, I hear you.
Heads are gonna roll. Heads are gonna roll, and I want my armor to be the exact same. I want to look like a witch, and I want the glowing armor.
I do want to state something. Okay, this was said a long time ago. Whenever sunsetting was implemented, and they took away those maps and stuff. They had said back then that the reason they were doing so was so that they could re-release them at a later time with different, basically fix the maps, right?
Yeah.
One thing about Vostok was it did have terrible spawns. Okay. Eternity as well, because you only have really 2 main spawn points, and it's really easy to trap a team in there. So if they fix them, then great. I'm happy for it. Yeah, and I'm nostalgic. I love those maps. I love stuff. I love whenever stuff comes back. And look, hey, that's not all. They haven't said it yet. There's a reason they haven't said it yet. Okay, but there are new maps coming. They've told us this. We are getting new maps.
Yeah.
They should be Tuesday. We should get new maps. They can't tell us about them yet, probably because they don't want, spoilers. Like
Right. They'll probably be on the Dreadnought.
Oof.
Right.
Dude, I want a Deep Stone crypt map. Like, God. And just have that song playing in the background the entire time.
Yeah, Deep Stone nearby.
Not available on iTunes anymore for some reason.
That's stupid.
It's not
That's
there anymore.
Sales pitch.
It's not there anymore. It's not. And then another note that they mentioned is Eververse. No changes. None. No. None. None. Yeah. None.
Okay with that, honestly.
Me too.
Because there's...
Eververse is fine right now.
Why?
Yeah.
It's not selling anything
Yeah.
outside cosmetics, which is great.
Exactly.
And that's all it really needed.
They're changing up the season pass a bit. They're bringing back
Yes.
high seasonal stat armor
I'm
to the
excited
season
about
pass.
this.
I am too.
It was a mistake to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because with all the sunsetting we've done, getting rid of armors and stuff, trying to hold on to good stuff is ridiculous. Fusing the armors with umbrograms. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to do like the high tier ones.
Yeah.
Their idea of a high tier one is, oh yeah, this one has 24 recovery, but guess what? All the other sets have 2 because it's a 55 roll. That is not a high stat. That's a high category.
That's one high stat.
I want a high number with targeted stats. That's what I want.
I'll tell you why I'm excited about it. Because there would come a point whenever farming for armor, Sam will tell you, I used to be terrible about deleting accidentally deleting a high leveled item, like weapon or something.
Yeah.
Like I needed a 1330 rocket launcher or a heavy, and I accidentally deleted it after I got it as a reward because it looked like everything else. I used that armor whenever I was leveling up, because whenever I got to a cap on something, I knew for whatever reason I can't get legs to drop right now. Right. It's fine. I can just go through the season pass and pull this, and it'll be at level, so that'll at least be a catch-up mechanic. That's why I like it.
And honestly, like with this mechanic, like I'm going to be saving that armor until after I've done the legendary campaign and redeem most of it right before the raid. Because if I'm at the point where I've gotten quite a bit of levels in, that could be a big help.
Yeah, for sure.
Excuse me, big help for the raid.
Yep.
And then plus with the implementation that they did, where it's like, oh, you want to change elements now? 10,000 glimmer and 1 upgrade module.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right. Well, it's coming up on an hour and a half. I think we covered Gambit. I know we wanted to touch more on weapon crafting. Honestly, I think it's a better idea to cover it whenever we've had a chance to play with it.
Yeah, get some hands-on time with it.
Exactly.
And again, this is an area where I'm going to continuously be. Honestly, I love the idea of crafting weapons up. I love the idea of rolling with all that stuff. And there's so much we can talk about with that.
Yep.
And a lot of it is kind of a little foggy. Like we could sit here and speculate, but literally in 3 days we can be actually doing it.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I'm excited, dude. It's right around the corner. We're just a couple of days away. I want to make a few notes here for everybody. Okay, if you're bounty hoarding right now, like you've been saving up your Iron Banner bounties specifically. I'm mentioning those specifically. Do not just log into the game on Tuesday after everything is live and claim those bounties. Okay, make sure you get your artifact first. Okay, because if you burn all that stuff, that's free experience that you could have been using to level up that artifact. And mind you, the artifact this season, they are changing it. You're no longer locked to 12 mods on that artifact. You can get all 25. It's going to take a little bit longer, but you can get all 25. Okay?
Huge.
That's huge. That's huge. You ain't got to reset it ever. That's so good. And another note that I'm going to mention about those Iron Banter bounties, they are still going to drop pinnacle level. So if you can, do your best to get as high as you can for the week before you open those. Exactly. Yeah. Try to get all your powerful rewards first before you do that.
Yeah. And if you do all of the legendary storyline, it should get you up, because they said if you finish all 8 missions, it puts you at 1520.
Yes.
And isn't that our hard cap? Our soft cap is that.
Soft cap.
And then our hard cap would be 10 more higher than that, and the pinnacle would be 10 after that.
Yes.
They haven't released exactly what level you need to be for the raid. I'm going to assume you need to be at least at the hard cap.
I would assume.
So if that's your goal and you're trying to hit for day one, make sure you get that legendary storyline in it. It's 8 missions long. They said it's gonna be the equivalent of fighting a Grandmaster Nightfall.
Yes.
Get yourself a team together, get powered up. That is going to be the most efficient way to do it.
Yeah.
The nice thing is you can play back those missions. They said from the start, once you finish one mission, you can go back.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to beat through on normal difficulty, get your idea where the spawn points are, get yourself at least through it so you understand, then go back and do it. So you're a little bit more powered up. Not a problem.
And
because it's more likely...
I was just going to say, we still have the, I can't remember what the bonus is called, but you have an experience bonus for doing stuff with teammates, your fire team bonus.
Yes.
Shared
wisdom.
Yeah, your shared wisdom. So shared wisdom. If you don't have a fire team, guys, go to our Discord server, check it out. I have an LFG section in there. You can find people that are going to be doing this. This is all still very new, so it might be kind of hard to find right now, but I know there's going to be plenty of people looking to get this stuff done, and it's so much like, dude, I'm confident in my ability to hop on and do a legendary mission. You know, myself solo. I know Sam is as well, but not everybody is. So having a fire team might help you.
Right. I mean, like the reason we're confident in saying this is like we've done everything.
Yeah.
We've gone through the build crafting. We've gotten the armors. We've gotten the god rolls. Like it's taken a long time to get to this place. So for a new light player or somebody who doesn't have the time to grind in, but you're not a new light, like it's okay. Ask for help. It's our right to do that. This is a community game, and it's meant to be played with friends.
Yes.
The way we're doing it is not what they intend, but you know what? We're gonna make it work because Esoteric can do it. Why can't we? Watch. He'll solo the whole thing by himself, and I'll post it. And
Of course.
It took me 2 hours.
This is
Cool.
It's one cut too. Oh my god.
It's amazing.
Sam, do you have anything? Let me see.
I'm good. I think
I've got
Craig just died.
Craig died?
Yep. I just said he stopped recording.
Oh boy. Failed to join. It persistently failed to join because of an issue with the voice server.
Yeah. I mean, we're done anyway, so.
Sam, anything you would like to shout out or say before we wrap this up?
I mean, follow both of us on our social medias. I'll be streaming the day 1 raid, so on March 5th. Come watch me, Batsam42. I'll be on. Be doing this. Going to go for the 24-hour mark. Really hoping to at least finish. If not, just come in and say hi. Yeah, that's all I got.
Dude, Sam, March 5th. That's 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
2 weeks from today. Am I on that? Am I on that day 1 raid too? Like, no. I know I'm willing to be. Am I not? Who all?
Name was picked a while ago.
Was it? And I wasn't picked.
Sorry.
It's okay. Day 1 trials will be here before you know it. And let me tell you. Listen, guys, I want to thank all of you for stopping by and checking this out. This has been a long time coming. This is huge for me and Sam both, and for our friends. And just thanks. Like you said, check out our socials. Follow us on Twitch, Twitter, all of that jazz. Check out my YouTube channel.